Eddie cut breaking, and cut breaking rather softly, I would say, as well. That was a delicate strike of the pack from the Batman. Pretty tepid, but you take a look at the split and you really can't grumble. Got the 8-ball moving as well, which was a feature of his group win earlier on in the competition. Golden break was part of the signature of Eddie's performance, celebrated in great style. That's a lovely opening shot to deal with what could have been a problem yellow. And actually yellows, whilst being a bit fiddly, aren't what you'd call too bad. He'd have loved to have been a little lower on it though. He's going away from his work here.
Yeah, I think the only issue with this layout is the plant to left centre. The yellow that he can play could go up and get in trouble, which is why it looks like he might have tried to come up and play on it. Play on the one nearest the pocket, just kind of float out. I don't know if he's come far enough up, but he's on the plant or the choice of the two down the table.
And you can see the fan club is behind him.
He was on the one nearest the pocket, and that does make things a little bit easier.
Yeah, you can see how they all connect now. What's the key thing here for this frame is now the 8-ball. If he's where he is now, frame's over.
If he gets it slightly wrong though, the 8-ball also goes up the table. He'd like to get back to where he is, but if he has to take it to top left, he will. He'd love to have come back on the previous one an extra 2 or 3 rolls, because he'd love to have been just off straight the other way. It's not really a problem though. I think I'd rather go bottom left here and float out. You don't really need to do too much. You can just kind of float along a natural line and leave the yellow to left centre, and then, yeah, exactly where he's looking at there. And if you land straight, you take the 8-ball to the corner. If you get that turn of angle, then you can play on it into the easy left centre pocket.
Yeah, that's nicely played. If you are wondering where all of Eddie's hair's gone following his pre-match interview, it was all a ruse, as some of you might know. Didn't quite get into that as he might have liked.
I thought he was going to use the cushion. I thought he was just off straight the wrong way, but he tried to pinch the pocket, and this looks very thin all of a sudden. I mean, if he just stuns that in, he's got a straight pot to the top left corner that he's never going to miss. So this has to be worth it.
Oh, it was razor thin. It's a great shot. Really good shot. Knew his angles as well with the cue ball, avoided all the pockets. But that was very, very thin indeed. It's a good pot in the end from Batman, who was, I don't know what you'd call his crew here, but the back crew are in as well. It's his lovely partner and kids at the front row. A few other mates have come down for the trip as well.
It's good to see, isn't it? I mean, Eddie does so much travelling around, playing in different events, and it's nice to see some support out there for him.
He actually have a relatively short trip in ultimate pool terms to the lovely spots and stripes in Red Hill, Surrey, for the Players' Championship this weekend. Tillman's Cup break, you could argue, was better, but it hasn't been rewarded. And I tell you who has been rewarded is Eddie Barker, because what a split this is.
Yeah, interesting decision here. I think yellows are the way, but you're drawn to red straight away, but the two reds together in the top half are awkward. The reason I like yellows, because you can go left centre, top centre as we look from the overhead, drop on the awkward ball, the one below the 8-ball straight away, and if you deal with those two and the other one at the top of the table straight away, then the rest become fairly routine. I even think the yellow bottom of the line there in the triangle area might pass bottom right, which also helps the situation.
He's okay. 8-ball isn't quite covering the line of the yellow, I don't think.
I don't know, I think it's tight. He's also just off straight, so he's not going to get close to his next ball. Slightly loose shot, that one, that could get awkward for him, but he is on it. Took a risk there, really. It wasn't easy to kind of leave a gap to, I mean, ideally yellow bottom right, the one on the cushion would have been the easiest one to connect to, but red's in the way, he wasn't guaranteed, and then it would have been a tough ball, so took a risk to come down the table. He's on a yellow, but not perfect.
Yeah, needs to pull out a shot here. How's your leave? Well, now we'll find out if that yellow goes bottom right, because if it does, it's perfect. And I have a suspicion it does, the way Batman's lining this up. Yeah, sails him. He's a definition for me, Eddie, of a solid player. I mean that in, you know, the most positive way possible. It's why he's built such a good international career. He's dependable, he's reliable, you know what you're going to get. Very rarely drops his level.
I think a good decision to go this way round. If he goes to the bottom corner first, you can't just roll it in for right centre because it's taking the cube on a bad line onto the 8-ball. I actually think he's come back further than he wanted to. The reason I liked the way he went was that you could leave a really high angle on that yellow and then you just kind of float up the table and you pick the sort of bigger gap between the reds, and now he's got to force it just a little bit. Wouldn't surprise me to see him snookered on the 8-ball here, the way he's pulled this back too far.
You called it. It was a tough line to find.
Yeah, that was, to me, that wasn't the bad shot. The bad shot was coming back too far. You leave the high angle, the really high angle, then you're just floating it in with a tracer side to pick the gap you want. Playing it the way he did, forcing it off 2 cushions with side, it makes it so much harder.
Oh, no way. Oh,
wow.
wow. The Batman pulls one out of the fire. Dylan Leary must be absolutely sick. That is an outrageous find from Eddie Barker.
This is ridiculous. This really is. I mean, okay, he's going to get solid contact. He knows that. But to pull this out, you know, the good fortune here, it's incredible. I mean, it really is. And that's one that, in these short matches, races to 420 minutes, that is a sickener for Dylan Leary. It really is.
Could be a defining moment, not just in this match, but in the night for Eddie Barker, who begins frame 3 at the table.
In a strange way, Dylan would rather he just cleared up normally and not done that because he feels more down because of it.
Miss hits the cut break. The 8-ball's not going in again, is it? No, it isn't. Could be some fun and games here. Could be some serious fun and games. He needs to be able to see a red.
I don't think there's a finish on. There's nothing, even if he gets reds. I think for Eddie, this is some match management here. Don't chase anything. Make Dylan be the one to chase a bad finish here. I would even be tempted not to take a colour set, just kind of try and tease Dylan a little bit. The only thing I would say, just to guard against here, well, he sent that yellow further up the table than I was. That's good for Eddie, by the way. I was thinking you maybe could have slid a ball in up the side cushion past the 8-ball, nudging the 8-ball on the way through. It might have gone, might not have gone, it's tight. But now he sent another yellow up into the mix. That's very much Eddie saying, I am going to draw this frame out for as long as possible.
Yeah, 2-0 up. Feels like a good decision to do that. 10 minutes and 40 seconds and ticking on this match clock.
How about that for your first shot? That was not nice. There was half a chance for Dylan to pop that, get his colour set and develop the reds, or land on a, you know, off-angle plant or some sort of clever shot at the top there. But it's
not what you want as your first shot of the night, really, is it?
Good news is I don't think he's left him on this red to top right. how aggressive, because he could take red to right centre and open up the reds completely. But if he missed the red, yeah, I think it was a good choice not to take that on. If he misses he could have gone for the centre pocket, cue ball off the top cushion into that red. He could have got himself a chance, but it would have been more risky to take on than was worth at 2-0 in front with this layout.
Reds are now by far and away the better set, and aren't actually, if you're in good position on one, too difficult to get through. Can Dylan see one of the ones to the left of the break? I think can. There may be a shot there, but if he can't, obviously there isn't.
I think he just puts the cue ball back where it is, really. Just brush off this red, there you go. And he was just trying to see if there was something else, but yeah, I don't see the issue of what he's just done. It's now harder for Eddie to play a similar shot. He can clip off the red and come back across, but Reds are certainly opening themselves up just a little bit.
Oh, what a great shot.
That was bold. At 2-0 up with this table, that was very bold. I thought he was going to clip off it, put the two reds together, cue ball middle of the top cushion, and said, I'm happy with this being a mess, but making the treble, which is what he was playing, is brilliant.
Yeah, because these reds open up with this shot. This is the key shot here. This is almost cash ball in the frame. How are you feeling? How are you feeling? And this is what happens if you're allowed to build up a head of steam with a good break and run to start, a bit of a naughty fluke in the second, and all of a sudden Eddie Barker's fizzing and feels confident enough to take this finish on.
But once he gets himself reds, yes, that shot was a good one, and he's perfect here to run out and get himself 3-0 in front. But it almost becomes a slightly freer hit because the two yellows at the top are so dead that you know you're not going to get countered. So you can it frees you up to play the shot he played previously. That one was slightly loose. Like to have been another 2-3 rolls. He was playing on quite a tight line there, but this is thinner than he wants, because he'd love to control himself to have a half ball on the red on the right hand side here, and he can't do that.
Yeah, he has to take it now. Plays into the red instead, and what we're going to see here is an elongation of the frame. This goes back to plan A for Eddie Barker.
It does, but he'll be disappointed, because once he makes that one to the bottom corner, he expects to get out there, and to get 3-0 with this much time left on the clock. It's brilliant position. Once he got 7, would have been 6.5 minutes on the clock. Now he has to really make sure that he drags this one out, because if he loses this one now, there will be, even if there's 10 seconds on the clock, golden break's always in play. I think for me and Dylan there, I'd like to play that a little bit firmer and get that yellow further across the table. And 𝗏𝗃𝗃 obviously wants the 𝗏𝗃𝗃 bottom of the table. He was trying to make sure he got the snooker behind the yellow and didn't quite hit it hard enough. But for me, open up that yellow is more important. He can't let this frame drag on. Get one of his yellows out while he's got an opportunity.
I wonder if Eddie's got an angle to maybe do something here. It's brave. It's very brave to go anywhere near that red and 8 ball.
The way he played that would suggest this goes to the top right. It looked like he tried to avoid hitting it, not going into it. So I think this might pass the yellow and go top right.
Well, this would be a hell of a shot. Oh, it was tracking. That was in. Just needed a little bit more pace. Still not easy for Dylan to win this frame.
Now my question is, does the yellow on the left-hand side, will that squeeze past the 8 ball and open up the pocket? In which case, take the one bottom right, get underneath it, and do it that way around. Or even the one he's playing now might do it.
Oh, it's a long way off.
No, I think he was trying to. I think he was so far off. I think he must have been trying to move that yellow, not going off the jaw off the 8 ball.
Yeah, I can see that now. Instant reaction was that was a really bad shot, but no, you're right.
He can't have missed it by that much.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. This is, again, another very, very thin one for Eddie.
So previously when I said he didn't move the yellow far enough away from the 8-ball, this is where it comes back to hurt him a little bit. Now that yellow is still awkward near the 8-ball. Okay, there is room to play on it, and he will try and get there. But imagine if that was an extra 3-4 rolls middle of the table, it'd be so much easier.
15-second shot clock.
Oh, is it Dylan left a bit of sight of this? I think he's left enough just apart. Eddie can maybe get something creative going here.
Really important for Eddie not to foul there, because it's frame over with ball in hand. At least he's making Dylan have to play on this yellow that he didn't develop earlier on when he had an opportunity.
Worst part is he's left him pretty much ball in hand on it. Lovely shot that from Dylan. And this should be 2-1.
Yeah, now we start to look at the clock, and you'd say Eddie hasn't done enough in this frame. He's had an opportunity to win it, and he hasn't done enough to slow him, Dylan down, although it was 10 minutes when this frame started. But Dylan will have enough time for a break clearance and some.
Not hanging about is Dylan, which is the right call. In goes the 8-ball with 3 minutes and 15 seconds to play. Clock will stop now in between the frames as we are into the 15-second shot clock zone in the match. 15 seconds a shot, final 5 minutes. 3 minutes and 15 is a long time in this form of the game.
Interesting decision there, isn't it? But he had to do that. He had to leave as much time on the clock because he's one behind and he's got to win this next frame. But if he makes a ball and makes a break clearance, he'll probably feel like he could have done with running the clock down an extra 30 seconds there, maybe even a minute, because let's say Dylan makes a ball, makes a break clearance, he will leave, what, a minute, 45 seconds on the clock? So he can't make this a buzzer beater. Eddie, worst case scenario, should get an opportunity for a golden break, if not enough time for a break clearance, and that's even if Dylan comes up with the goods here.
I think if you're Dylan, you've got to put
100%.
As much time into the match
100% agree.
Oh, it was travelling.
He's dry, so he does need that time. The decision is right for Dylan, obviously, but he said to me before, he said he was the first player here at the venue this afternoon, and he said, I fancy a few golden breaks tonight. He was practicing his cup break earlier on. He's been close. Don't think the yellow passes the red to top left. He's having a really good look at it now, but I'm not sure that's on. So now's the time to open it up. If it doesn't go, use the one to top right and get into it. Or you could potentially play to bring it down the table, but he's staying away from it for now, so maybe it does go. If that yellow doesn't go, for me that's a mistake, because you can't run the clock down enough here. There's too much time left in the match, so he has to make this finish.
Yeah, and it's not a case of get rid of all your open balls and hand the table over with little time left for Dylan. There'd be more than enough time for a counter. Eddie needs to make this.
Only thing I would say is because he's dealt with the bottom left-hand corner, he can get above it and take it down the table, but it was never going to be a good last ball. So he must believe this goes.
Should have the beeps on every single shot there, and that is a lovely shot. Reddy Barker, he's going to be able to make this yellow, take a little bit more time off the clock, and he's going to have an 8-ball to win the match. He will Every single beep here, he's well aware of it.
It's a bad angle for the 8-ball.
It's a lovely shot, mind. So he's going to take Dylan all the way down to south of 40 seconds. That's if he doesn't make it. But if he does, he's won it. Oh, that's a great pot from the Batman. 3-1 up, 35 seconds left. As good as in the shed with a victory to his name.
Interesting on that. I really do think that was interesting because he had the perfect angle to play the breakout early in the visit, decided not to do it. So is there a little bit of match play, a little bit of run the clock down? Because worst case scenario there, he leaves, what, 35, 40 seconds?
Yeah, from the 8-ball, yeah.
Yeah.
But if he obviously doesn't land on the yellow, a little bit more time,
maybe just leaves
obviously.
a minute. Yeah, I think that in that situation, you've got to do what's best to make the clearance. And he might have been better if he'd gone for it early, but how do you question him when he's made the clearance and he's 2 ahead with 35 seconds to play?
Yeah, I got to say, I think he's played that beautifully. There's that cut break that's working so well for him. Dylan puts his cue away. It feels almost like a significant message that from Lethal Leary. This match is over, and indeed he's going to walk forward to shake the hand of his good mate. Eddie Batman Barker is off to a flyer in the last 16 of the Champions League. All smiles for the Batman, who vanquishes his good mate Dylan Leary, who'll need to come from behind tonight to make it through to the final four. The Batman on the move in the Champions League.